Hey everybody, today we are going to be doing a how-to video on the installation of FreeZTP, which is a zero-touch provisioning server for Cisco Catalyst switches. Right here on the screen you can see we have a Linux CentOS 7 machine that has no applications or anything like that installed. And over here we have a Cisco switch that's in the middle of rebooting. It has no configuration on it. It's just like it's out of the box. I booted up once and I just ended up rebooting it so that it's ready to go for this demo. So the first thing we want to do, if we look at the installation instructions here, is we want to check and make sure that Git is installed on this machine. So we'll do that. Looks like it's already installed just fine there. Then we're going to want to run a we're going to want to use Git to clone the FreeZTP repo and copy the files, the installation files. So we can see here they just got copied to this directory. We'll go ahead and move into that directory. And then you can see down below, the installation is just as easy as running the ZTP Python file in install mode. So we'll do that. So it's just going to ask to confirm here. So now ZTP, the installer, is going to go through and install all of the needed packages, both Python libraries, and it's going to install the DHCP service for Linux. Once the DHCP service has been installed, it's going to run an auto discovery of all of the IP interfaces on this Linux machine, and it's going to create DHCP scopes and commit them to the DHCP server for all of the interfaces. So it's enabling, it starts listening on all interfaces for DHCP requests, but it's not going to be able to hand out any addresses. That's disabled because we don't want to do that by default. So you can see here now it's installing DHCP. Once it's done, it will perform the auto setup. It'll detect all the interfaces. There should only be one here, and now it's done. So we can see here we need to log out of SSH and back in to finish. So we're just going to do that here now. And we can see now that ZTP is available. Here's our command guide. We can look at the status of it. We can see that both the ZTP service and the DHCP service are running in the background. And we can look at the configuration. And here is, starting up here, here's the configuration of the ZTP server. Here's some settings up here that you probably won't need to touch. Here is the DHCP configuration, the scope that was created for that interface there. We can see a couple of templates that are put in here as demo templates. You can modify and reuse these, or you can get rid of them and build your own. Then we have the key stores, ID arrays, associations, and the rest of the settings here. If you don't know what those are, go ahead and read through the README on the GitHub page, and there's thorough explanations on as far as what those do. So we can see our switch is booted up here. So it's likely ready for a configuration. What we need to do is configure ZTP to hand out an address with DHCP. So to do that, in the Getting Started guide, it gives you a good idea of how to do that here. So we're going to go and follow this, and we're going to add a first and last address for the DHCP scope that's been automatically created. So we want that scope there. We want a first address. We'll start at 101. And we want to create a last address. And 200. And then the next step is to commit that. And what committing does is it translates all of this into the native DHCP configuration file and restarts the DHCP service for us. So we'll do that now. And it went ahead and did that. So now if we can take a look here and look at if there's any current leases out. Looks like we haven't handed out a lease yet. We can look at any downloads, a history of downloads that have happened. No downloads yet, and any provisioning actions, any switches that have actually come up and pulled their full configuration. So none yet. So we'll give it a minute here. All right, so we can see here the switch automatically, without doing anything, it automatically went through and grabbed the iOS upgrade file and tried to upgrade its iOS. We haven't loaded any files into ZTP yet to be able to upgrade iOS, but that's easy to do. It's on the README. It then went through and pulled its initial configuration here, which ZTP automatically created and provided. And then it went through and grabbed its individual configuration from ZTP. So now if we go through and look, we can see a DHCP lease that's been handed out here. We can see all the different files that have been downloaded. And if we look at the provisioning, we can see the IP address of the switch, the temporary ID that it grabbed from ZTP, its MAC address, the actual serial number of the switch, and the key store that it matched. And if we now hop on this switch, which this is a first boot up, so it automatically grabbed its configuration, we can see that it actually is configured already. We'll log in, and we can see it actually pulled an unknown host configuration from ZTP, which is a default configuration. So to modify all of that, obviously you would change your configuration here, but ZTP has a default configuration that it comes with that it's ready to hand out so that you can quickly set it up and demo and play around with it and figure out how to use it. Thanks guys for watching this video, and good luck with your installation.